Good morning. This is Pastor Doug. What's the state of your soul today? That's a good question to ask. Maybe a follow-up is, does God seem near or does God seem far? And if he seems far, and if it seems like the pathway to God seems either blocked or unclear, some good things to ask yourself, and this is coming out of our message last Sunday in Psalm 42, the worshiper who is desperate for God himself, as the deer is panting for streams of water in the wilderness in a dry and a thirsty land. He's desperate for God himself. Am I looking for God, or am I looking just for the benefits that God provides? Those often go hand in hand, but they are different. And the priority is God himself. And as I encounter God and find God, I find that he himself is what truly satisfies. A good follow-up question is, and a good practice is, am I pouring out my soul to God? Am I pouring out my heart to God? Am I specifically even telling him, these are the things that are bearing in on me, that are pressing in on me. These are my concerns. These are my struggles. These are my joys. This is my confusion. This is where I'm afraid or anxious. God is big enough to handle those kinds of questions, and that helps build intimacy as we're honest and transparent with God. He knows anyway. Why not just tell him? Another practice we talked about is putting a stake in the ground that says, my hope and my expectation is that God will come and will meet with me. That God will, in fact, act. Just like the watchman looks for the dawn, eagerly waiting. Where's those first lights of dawn? Do we have that expectant spirit that says, even today, I'm expectant. Where and how is God going to break through and break in to my life? This Sunday, we're going to look at Psalm 133, a psalm that begins with how good and pleasant it is when God's people live together in unity. You don't need me to tell you that our world is fractured, our country is divided, our community is split into two sides. Oftentimes, churches and families are divided. There's not a sense of unity or oneness or togetherness. What is that really? What does that look like in a church, in a family, in a community? How do we get there? What are some principles on how to get there? And we're going to also look at Philippians chapter 2, verses 1 to 11. So look forward to seeing you then, and may God grow us in that sense of being one together. Because as the psalmist says, that's where God's blessing comes, when his people are living in unity. We'll see you Sunday. Have a great week.